Alright guys, I'm back with another video of the original Guild Wars, the true Guild Wars experience. I noticed the other day my first Guild Wars video hit over 50,000 views, and that just blew my mind. It's my most viewed video that isn't an animation, and it showed me that there is still so much love for the original series. And I want to thank all of you that watched that video, because not only does that give me the confidence that my content has given people that nostalgic blast from their past, but it got me so fired up that I re-downloaded the game and have begun to play it again. When I last quit, I was working on the Mastery of the North title, which involves pretty much accomplishing every single thing you can accomplish in Eye of the North, which was the only non-standalone expansion, so I'm jumping right back into chasing that max title. There's some zones left for me to vanquish on hard mode, which, for those of you that don't know, is like playing the game against AI that have taken virtual steroids, and if you're not running the right hero builds, it's like how I'd imagine a featherweight fighter facing Brock Lesnar would go. Now this video's just gonna show me vanquishing a zone called Virajar Fells? Or Virajar Fells, I don't know. Anyways, the main reason for that is because I recorded other gameplay as well, but it all went horribly. It's pretty much just a montage of me trying other hard mode content and leading my party to their deaths over and over, so I don't know, I just kinda assumed you guys wouldn't want to see that. I think I remember why I quit last time. I've only left the hardest content on this guy and probably couldn't figure out how to beat it, so just letting you guys know, I will have a Is It Worth Playing in 2019 coming in the near future, where I show much more of the game and the state of the game's population, how it holds up to other MMOs nowadays, and so on, but I just wanted to talk about how special this game is, and if we'll ever see another MMO like it again. So before we start, quick recap of my return so far. First thing I did when I logged in is I realized, hey, my account probably has a new birthday gift. Woohoo! Because you get gifts every time your character hits like a year old, so I'm pumped for some reason because of how old my character is, like 15 years old levels of old. I just like assumed the birthday gift I redeemed would give me one of the best pets in the game, like it owed me that much for being loyal all these years and making YouTube videos to promote it, because obviously all the devs know that and scripted my chances to be way higher as a result. Totally, Goose, yeah, you're not an idiot. Anyways, excited, I redeemed my gift voucher. Opened my gift and got a miniature Palua freaking Joko. Purple pet, worth like 1 ecto. Feck. So for those of you that don't know, in the original Guild Wars, players kind of started their own currency outside of the established game currency, which is gold. And that currency players started using was ectoplasm, since it's a hot commodity, expensive, and hard to farm. Because the game only allows you to hold 100k gold at a time, and the most shit you'll buy in this game that matters costs a lot more than that, but I digress. The purpose of this video, will we see another MMO like this again? And unfortunately, I think we won't. I think the original Guild Wars is one of a kind, and that actually kind of breaks my heart. Guild Wars Eye of the North was the last game from the original series, and it came out in 2007. Since then, holy shit, 12 years have passed. I still remember harassing my mom to buy me Eye of the North for Christmas. It was a simpler time. I didn't score many ladies, but I didn't really care. I had my own love story to follow. I had the love story of Cass and Milani. Yes, back then my virtual life was everything, and it just so happened that I stumbled upon not only one of the best MMOs, but best games I'd ever play. And it's been 15 years since I first played Guild Wars, and I'm still hopeful we will see some sort of spiritual successor to this masterpiece. But over time, my hope for this has kind of dissipated, mainly because I've seen a lot of MMOs release over the past decade and a half, and none have even had a hint of the kind of gameplay that made the original Guild Wars great. But I'll touch on this towards the end. First, I owe you some context. I need to share what I think was standout and unique in Guild Wars. Now, where Guild Wars has really stood out to me is in two ways. One, the whole game is the experience. The whole adventure is engaging from start to finish, and it's formatted so differently from other MMOs that the pitfalls of those games are just non-existent here. The second reason it stood out to me is the gameplay itself still stands out as completely unique to other MMOs, to the point where you can boot this 15-year-old series up right now, and the game mechanics will still feel completely fresh to you. Hell, I've played this game for about 2,000 hours now, and every single time I come back from a break, the game feels fresh again because it just offers so much that you haven't experienced before in another MMO. So I'm gonna go into detail for a bit on both of these points, and obviously we start for the first one, because I mean, if we start with the second, is there just no order in this world anymore? Come on. The first point I made, the whole game being engaging, what I meant by this was there are so many MMOs that really take a while to get going. And out of those MMOs, a lot of them don't really become too fun until max level, because to be honest, a lot of MMOs make it really clear that the end game is pretty much the entire purpose of the game, and as a result, getting to max level is a nasty slog of fetch questing. Guild Wars isn't like this at all. Literally from start to, well, I was gonna say finish, but I'm 2,000 hours in and nowhere near finished on even one of my 5 out of 6 characters. Or, I mean, one of the... What? What I meant to say is I have like 6 characters and I'm not even close to being done with any of them. But let's say from start to however long you play the game, the whole experience feels satisfying, like you're constantly learning, doing meaningful tasks, and seeing amazing places along the way. And the best way Guild Wars separates itself from this far too standard way of character progression in other MMOs is the max level is 20 and you'll hit that so fast, like before you even complete one of the campaign storylines. Because max level isn't at all the point of Guild Wars. It's meant to be played however you want to play it. It gives the player the respect of shaping their own adventure, not just pushed into an on-rails experience or an on-rails progression path, which many games of this genre are guilty of. Guild Wars is so open-ended that you can't even establish if there really even is an endgame. Like, it doesn't go the typical way of grind to hit max level, prepare for endgame raids and dungeons, do endgame raids or dungeons. Yes, there is plenty of challenging content to work towards, but like I said, the game isn't structured in a way where it feels like it's leading you along one path, one goal, one ultimate thing at the end of the game. Like another example, even gear, you get the maxed out armor rating probably around the same time you hit level 20. And if you think about it this way, I've played 1,500 hours on this character alone. So within, I'm guessing, the first 20 to 25 hours, I hit level 20, got max gear already. That max level grind, that gear grind, just completely got removed from the equation now. After that, it's just a vast sea of content to explore and enjoy. My choice to focus on whatever the heck I want to. Nothing annoying like needing to grind for the best maxed gear to experience any of it. The only place I felt the game intended me to focus some time on was getting new skills, because the lifeline of Guild Wars is the skills and the character and hero builds you create. Because if you go into a PvP or PvE zone, it's not like other MMOs where you can swap skills on the fly. Once you've entered one of these types of zones, you and your party have to stick with the skills on their skill bar. And in the harder content, a lot of things don't work too well, and you really need to strategize these builds. And to be able to test out plenty of different builds, you need skills, whether they be elite skills you need to acquire from killing some mini-boss in some random zone, or finding the right skill trainer. Even then though, the skill hunting isn't even a necessity until way down the line when you're doing the extra challenging mode of the game called hard mode, which pretty much means you can do a story mission but in a jacked up difficulty, and enemies hit way harder and, you know, that sort of thing. It's really fun and really challenging, and it's unlocked once you complete the storyline of a game. But yes, the point is, this game was created for you to enjoy and shape your own fun, not spend dozens or hundreds of hours grinding the best gear to even get to that content. My character's progression has all felt so natural and completely dictated by me, the player. The point I've gotten to with the good old warrior Lungustus has felt like it's completely my doing. And something really worth noting is I don't think I'll ever get so immersed in a game and its lore again. The only MMO that edged out Guild Wars for me was Lord of the Rings Online, but Guild Wars' ability to deeply immerse me in its story, its backstory, its world, was an even more impressive feat because I grew up watching Lord of the Rings. I did not have any prior knowledge of Guild Wars' history and lore until I started playing through the game. It literally grabbed a hold of me and pulled me in as I played, whereas Lord of the Rings Online had its hold on me from all the awesome source content I'd experienced before it, from the books and the movies, and then it was just kind of enhanced by the game. The world building is next level in Guild Wars, because not only does each continent have so much charm and intrigue, but it's complemented by an engaging story that makes you actually want to watch the cutscenes and read the little dialogue pop-ups from your party members, all of which have their own interesting stories as to why they've ended up where they have in life. Every part of this world is so varied, so unique from the last, with the Nightfall continent, aka Ilona, is clearly influenced by Middle Eastern and African landscapes, whereas Cantha, which is the factions continent, is inspired by old-school, centuries-old China. And lastly, Tyria, which is the Prophecies continent, is inspired by medieval Europe. And all of these continents are gorgeous and bursting with detail in every single zone. The second point, we made it. I don't shut up. Holy crap, I went on and on about that last one. That's how fired up this game gets me, and it's so freaking old. That's how good it is, though. I said the gameplay is completely unique to other MMOs. I touched on this in the last point I made about how builds are the bread and butter of this game, the PB and J to a PB and J sandwich. The bread would be, Okay, I have completely derailed my train of thought. I'll be right back. Okay, I took a 6-hour nap and we're good. We're back in it. Guild Wars is different gameplay-wise in a few very significant ways. One being the party system, which allows you to have up to 7 heroes in your party, which are essentially NPC characters you meet along your journey that join up with you. And the result of this is a whole new layer of depth to character development, because you're not only focusing on your character, you're also forming relationships with these NPC characters, which is strengthened by having to constantly micromanage their annoying asses. At times, they can be a pain in the ass, but overall, Guild Wars has some really intelligent AI going on in each of these heroes, because with the right builds, your heroes can even get you through some of the hardest content in the game. It's awesome to watch their stories unfold, it's awesome to have them along with me when I go out into the big bad world. It's awesome that it feels like they're growing and becoming better alongside me. It seems ridiculous, but I've actually grown fond of taking certain heroes over other heroes because I've been through a ton of content with some of them. None of these adventures have involved Koss though. He will never get the call to arms, stupid Koss. There's a backstory behind this, I just don't want you guys to have to deal with all my emotions right now. Maybe someday, if you ask in the comments. These heroes allow you to essentially play the game solo. You can literally play the entire game solo if you actually take the time to learn what skill bars and what team makeups work best, so hard mode doesn't bend you over its knee and give your little tushy a spanking. While it is definitely easier to play with other players and more fun, I found that testing out hero teams is a total blast, and I've probably played about 90% of the game just with them. Also, as mentioned, the challenges presented by having to choose and settle on every build of every member in your party before entering a combat zone adds a level of strategy that I haven't felt in other MMOs in quite this way. For instance, you can make it through a dungeon, get to the last boss, and realize your team doesn't have what it takes to take out the last boss. Typically, in other MMOs, this might be because some of the players are lacking the right gear score, or someone messed up the strategy and caused a wipe, but in Guild Wars, it can be those things, on top of the possibility of having to completely revamp the entire builds of some members of the party. So it still works against the other enemies of the instance, as well as that end boss. Because there is so much depth to the combat, everything you do feels so satisfying. Even if you're just playing in normal mode and crushing the shit out of enemies, you'll be thinking to yourself, damn, these builds I put together are making quick work of these fools. The feeling of payoff is there far more frequently than I've felt it in other MMOs, because I've nitpicked and developed this entire team from scratch, not just my own character, and all these builds are coming together to overpower my enemies. To conclude, Guild Wars just feels like the smoothest experience I've had in an MMO, where literally every part of the game just feels so finessed and refined. The gameplay feels seamlessly integrated with the goings-on of the story and the game world, with constantly changing landscapes and enemies to fight, a questing system that feels more connected to the story than just hundreds upon hundreds of meaningless fetch quests, which is why it makes me really sad to say I don't think there'll be another MMO like this one, or if there is, it's a long ways away. The reason I think this is because of how many MMOs have come out since Guild Wars' heydays, but none of them have even slightly tried to match the soul of the original Guild Wars, as in those core gameplay elements that make it so special. Not even Guild Wars 2 has done that, and I'm happy Guild Wars 2 has done so well, mainly because it gives me hope that Guild Wars 3 may happen in the future, and the team that works on the sequel might look back at what they created here and try to pull some of these original concepts and mechanics into that game. But like I said, I'm worried it may not happen because no MMO has tried iterating the experience the first Guild Wars offers. Even RuneScape, a master of its style of gameplay, pretty much stands alone when it comes to its gameplay style, has been iterated a bit in other MMOs. You see its footprint elsewhere, whether it be in games like Grand Scray or Eldeven and so on. But the original Guild Wars, I can't think of a single MMO that has given any vibe like it, which just doesn't make sense to me because this game had an amazing population before Guild Wars 2 released. It's lost on me why there's no MMO to try and offer a similar experience, and I don't think I'll play another MMO that feels this masterfully executed in every which way. Regardless though, I'll always be hoping we get to see a modern generation game like Guild Wars, an MMO that stands on its own because of its extremely in-depth combat mechanics, a consistently satisfying and fulfilling experience, and the kind of lore and world that makes you feel like you just wasted your money on all those fantasy novels you just bought, because a video game just took storytelling to the next level. If you're still looking to get into Guild Wars, you're still in for a fresh experience, because no MMO has approached what the original series has done. If you're looking to try it out for the first time, prepare for something completely new from other MMOs you've played. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I just got into game and was like, shit, this game is still magical. I just need to spew out my thoughts on it. I guarantee a video along the lines of is it worth playing in 2019 is coming out soon, but I'm sure you can see which direction I'm leaning in. But in that video, I'll show a lot more of the game and population numbers than what you've seen here. Hit that subscribe button and stick around for more Guild Wars and other MMO content. Leave a comment on your best memories in Guild Wars. I love reading your guys' best moments in the game. Alright, take care.